Though Universal Orlando is of course known for their world-class rides and attractions, perhaps the greatest thing that this theme park has ever created is Butterbeer. Ripped straight from the pages and silver screen of the Harry Potter novels and films, it has become so popular that most guests will not find a trip to Universal complete without grabbing a Butterbeer. And by proxy of this popularity, the Butterbeer brand in and of itself has become a bit of a juggernaut, with several spin-off food and drink products all tied to the Butterbeer branding and taste, as well as Butterbeer merchandise. If you have a food or drink product that's that good that it's moving merchandise, you know you have something special on your hands. And make no mistake about it, folks, Universal is not blind to this fact. Thus, why they introduced here in the year 2024 the Butterbeer Season event. And I mean, it sounds like a slam dunk, right? After all, Universal's been looking for a new Harry Potter themed event to bring to the parks ever since a celebration of Harry Potter ended back in 2018 after running for 4 years in late January. That event proved to be very popular and gave Harry Potter fans another reason to come out and visit the parks on an annual basis. Not to mention, it greatly helped to bolster Universal's attendance, as usually late January is one of the deadest times at all of the Orlando theme parks. But by having that event, it really helped Universal gain some attendance when they usually would not be busy at all during that time period. So you have your theme park resort's most popular media franchise backing this event. You have the most popular theme park beverage period backing this event. And of course, you also happen to be the second largest theme park brand in the world backing this event. It seems like there's literally no way that this event could possibly go wrong. It seems like all the stars are aligning, not only for be a popular event, but also be a great event. But here's the thing, folks. Right from the get-go, things just felt off when it came to this event. I mean, if you are watching this video in 2024, you may notice that I mentioned that this event happened in 2024. And you might be sitting there saying, what Butterbeer event? I don't recall a Butterbeer event happening at Universal Orlando. I think I would have known that, right? Well, you'd be forgiven. Especially since I'm sure there are some people who are watching this video as it comes out and didn't even know that Butterbeer season just ended on June 2nd. But listen, folks, don't get too down in the dumps. Don't feel like, oh man, where have I been? Have I been living under a rock? No, trust me, you have not been living under a rock. It's just that Universal has been very weird when it comes to promoting this event. You see, on March 14th, Universal announced the event, which isn't really a notable date, except for the fact that it was only one day before the event actually started. Universal gave zero forewarning, zero advance notice of this event happening. Of course, it's the first time this event's ever happened, so nobody had any idea this event was coming. And as a result, if you were a big Butterbeer fan or a big Harry Potter fan or even just a big Universal fan and wanted to visit the parks during this time period, you had very little notice to do so and get your ducks in a row in order to attend the parks during this event. Because keep in mind, of course, it is a limited time event. So you only have a short amount of time to do so. And in fact, when the event was initially announced, it was only scheduled to go for a month-and-a-half time period, ending at the end of April. And you may be saying, oh, well, that's not strange for Universal. That's not odd for them to do. Universal is notorious for waiting until the last minute to announce an opening date for attractions. Think about Hagrid's or Velocicoaster. These rides were basically fully built and had trains on the track before Universal even gave it an opening date. Nonetheless, it even acknowledged that these attractions were even being built in the first place. What this usually results in is Universal giving an opening date only about a month or two in advance. And this is even true of Universal's latest opening, DreamWorks Land, which was only given a month notice ahead of time of its opening date. Now, Universal's reasoning behind doing this is actually pretty sound. I mean, they don't want people holding off their trips until a new attraction is open. Instead, they want them to come visit now, and then when that new attraction opens, feel the need to come and visit again. That way Universal can get more trips out of people and, of course, make more money. However, this makes no sense when it comes to an event. It's a limited time engagement. People can't just go and visit it a year from now, or 2 years from now, or a decade from now like they can with a new ride or attraction. They don't necessarily need to know the opening date in order to go and visit Universal and make sure we get on the ride shortly after it opens. No, because it's going to be here for years to come. It's a permanent fixture. When it comes to an event, that's only there for a couple months, or in the case of this particular event, only there for a month and a half. So giving only 1 day notice is very strange. Why would Universal put any money, any time, any effort into an event, nonetheless spend time promoting it if they weren't going to give people the opportunity to plan their trips around it? It's just very atypical behavior from Universal. But it doesn't stop there. You see, another reason why you might have had no idea this event even happened is because of what the event itself actually entailed. You see, there was no decorations, there was no fanfare, there was no signs whatsoever that there was actually an event going on. If you just walk through these Harry Potter lands or through the Universal parks in general, you really would have had absolutely no idea that there was anything special going on whatsoever. And the only way you would have been able to participate in anything regarding Butterbeer season is if you were in the know ahead of time before your visit. Otherwise, if you just stumbled into the parks on one of those days and you had no idea Butterbeer season was going on, you would have zero chance of figuring out that there was an event going on. There was just no way you could have possibly found out. So, another strange red flag. Universal gives no forewarning for people to plan trips to attend this event, and now that you're actually in the park, there's no signage, there's no indication that there is some sort of special event even happening. Universal's behavior here is just so out of place. It just doesn't make any sense. But we can garner another clue by looking at what this event actually entailed. What was Butterbeer season even for if we couldn't have any indication just by simply walking through the lands there was something special going on? Well, Butterbeer season only entailed 3 things. One was a specialty Butterbeer glass that happened to be like this silver stein. Okay, nothing crazy there. Then you also have Butterbeer caramel being introduced for a limited time. So a new food Butterbeer related item. That makes sense. Okay, that's cool. And then finally, you have another Butterbeer food item, that being the Butterbeer popsicle. And we could go ahead and sit here and question the quality of all these items all day, but it doesn't really matter. What's nice is that, okay, hey, new products, all right, that's fine and dandy, but are we really going to focus an entire event just around these 3 things? Really? That seems like you're just setting yourself up for disappointing guests. I mean, again, we mentioned it earlier, this is the first Harry Potter event since 2018. Fans have been waiting for a long time for this. It's the first event focused around Butterbeer, your most popular in-park product. And this is all it entails? No shows, no special attractions, no decorations, no fanfare, no nothing? This is it? This is all Butterbeer season is amounting to, and you actually spent time promoting it. Now, this is not to say that this is necessarily a bad thing, right? Getting these new products is inherently a good thing. Getting more new stuff at Universal is a good thing. Point blank and the period. But this is all just very strange behavior by Universal. This is not how they typically handle events. They don't have events like this. They're just nonchalantly thrown together, given a name, promoted on social media and their website, and then ultimately don't really amount to anything significant whatsoever, especially not tied to any major IP they have. So even though Universal only lightly promoted the event, I have to imagine that it left many guests disappointed who showed up to the parks seeing there was a Butterbeer season event, thinking that it would be some grand spectacle, only to be met with just really nothing. I think if Universal just randomly dropped these items, or announced that they were dropping these items but didn't turn it into its own big event, it would have protected Universal from disappointing many guests or just confusing people because it wasn't really a full-on event the way that Universal had promoted it. I mean, after all, Universal has built themselves up as a major player in the theme park market over the last decade or so. They have higher expectations now. They're expected to put on world-class events. You can't just put on some shoddy event, promote it online across all your social medias and your website, and say, hey, come visit the parks during this time, only for it to not really be an event and just be another opportunity for people to give you more money. But if you thought that the strangest part about this event was already behind us, well, you're wrong. Because despite the fact that this event was announced only 1 day before it started, it was only given a short month-and-a-half runtime. As you might have noticed earlier in this video, I said the event ended June 2nd. That doesn't seem to add up, does it? Well, the reason why is because one of these 3 items, that being the Butterbeer popsicle, did not actually arrive at the parks until the end of April, thus requiring Universal to extend the event so they could actually sell the popsicles instead of just having them all go to waste. Once again, another oddity. How often does Universal come unprepared for their own events? It just doesn't happen. There has to be something going on behind the scenes here, because this is just not the usual Universal that we've come to know and love. So why did Universal go through with this event as they did? It just doesn't really make sense, right? You have this great idea with a fantastic backing, as we mentioned earlier, and this is all you came up with, just a few limited time products. Don't get me wrong, the limited time products are nice, they're good to have, but to have those wrapped up in a nice little bow and calling that an event and then promoting that online as an event for people to come and visit the parks for, it seems like you're short selling this idea when it could have been truly spectacular. And this is once again extremely bizarre, because Universal is not known for doing the bare minimum, especially when it comes to anything Harry Potter related. In fact, I found this whole situation to be so bizarre that I couldn't just let sleeping dogs lie. And I did a little bit of research, and I believe I figured out why Universal went through with this event. And believe it or not, it does remove pretty much all culpability from Universal if my theory here is correct. You see, on March 13th, just one day before Universal would announce Butterbeer season at their parks, the Wizarding World website would make a blog post about Butterbeer season themselves. And you may be saying, okay, well, this is just the Wizarding World website telling Harry Potter fans, hey, Universal's putting on Butterbeer season, go check it out. But no, actually, in this blog post, they don't just mention Universal, they mention a whole bunch of other places that do currently sell Butterbeer products, also putting on their own Butterbeer season related events at the same time. Aha! So it seems that this initiative was not Universal's own doing, but instead was something that came from the Wizarding World team and Warner Brothers that they presumably pushed out across all places that currently sell Butterbeer. This included a number of new Butterbeer treats coming to the Warner Brothers studio tour in London, including Butterbeer pancakes and Butterbeer lattes. It also involved Butterbeer muffins coming to Harry Potter New York, and a Butterbeer truck that would make a tour across the United States. So this is a part of a much grander, bigger initiative from the Wizarding World team and from Warner Brothers themselves, which in my opinion explains why this event felt like it came so far below Universal's typical standards. And maybe this is me just having too much faith in Universal, but my belief is that this was sprung on Universal at a relatively late date by the Wizarding World team and Warner Brothers, and as a result, Universal did not really have the time to prepare a full-scale event. Keep in mind, even for these events that run on an annual basis, you're talking like 10 to 12 months of lead time, in which case they are preparing and creating the things that are going on during these events. So think about Halloween Horror Nights, Mardi Gras. These events take a long time to put together, and those are events that carry over assets from year to year. This would be a complete brand new event that they have to make new assets for, come up with new ideas for, and make new products for. And ultimately, I'm imagining that based on what happened here, that the Wizarding World team ultimately did not give Universal enough lead time to come up with a cohesive and high quality event. Thus, why Universal only went ahead with the new products and did not do any sort of decorations or any sort of fanfare, and only lightly promoted it on social media and their websites, basically doing what they were contractually obligated to do. Thus, why they only announced the event one day ahead of time, because they didn't want people to come out for this event. They didn't want to disappoint people. They didn't want people who were fans of Butterbeer and Harry Potter showing up expecting more just to be met with a few new products. It would also explain why the Butterbeer popsicles did not make their way to the parks until a month and a half into the event, simply because Universal had such short notice to get the event underway and start it at the same time as all these other Butterbeer season events, and ultimately could not get these products to show up in time for when they needed them. Simply put, Universal was caught off guard, knew they didn't have enough time to put together a high quality event, so then went ahead and did basically the bare minimum that they were contractually obligated to do, and said, okay, we're barely going to promote this, and we're only going to promote it one day before the event starts, so that way people do not show up to this thing and ultimately walk away disappointed. So if my little theory here is correct, then hey, Universal, you're forgiven. If it's not, then I still don't know what are you doing. Like, what was this? I don't even know. But I'll tell you this much, I think there actually is potential to the Butterbeer season idea. I mean, we talked about it earlier, how this event had all the pieces to be a slam dunk event. It could have been popular and actually high quality. I mean, consider this. Universal could have put up Butterbeer decorations, strung up some Butterbeer ornaments, maybe even switch out some of the light bulbs to be like orange so they kind of match with the Butterbeer theme. You could even have a nighttime show, a light show on the Hogwarts castle that's themed to Butterbeer. You could have a walk around character that's like a Butterbeer salesman or connoisseur or something like that, right, that guests can interact with. You could have a show in Diagon Alley that's about how Butterbeer is made, have it just be a comedy that completely makes a farce out of it. And then on top of that, you have new limited edition products. You don't have that be the sole and only feature of your event, or even the highest priority or the top selling point, right? You want people to come for the entirety of the event. You don't want it to be just for these products. But I do think one product that would actually have people lining up out the door to go to this event is if you had actual alcoholic Butterbeer in the parks during this event. This is something people have been clamoring for ages. People would go bananas if you brought this to the park. People right now actually go about doing this by just buying a shot and pouring it into their Butterbeer. Yeah, it works, it gets the job done, but really, if you want actual inherently alcoholic Butterbeer, you cannot get that at the parks, and people would go crazy if Universal actually introduced it, especially for a limited time. People would come out in droves to at the very least give it a try, and if they really like it, you could have this event every year and people would come back exclusively for that. And to not slow up operations at any of the currently existing Butterbeer stands, you go ahead and set up a temporary Butterbeer stand in both parks. I'm thinking like, you think like by the exit for Forbidden Journey, you know how they kind of have that little offshoot that goes to the backstage area? You could just set up a little booth right there, sell alcoholic Butterbeer out of there. You can have signs pointing back there, but honestly, there's probably gonna be a line down the street anyways. So, you know, I don't think anyone's gonna have any problem finding it, and it will help to lessen the crowds at the regular existing Butterbeer stands. So think about it that way. I don't know exactly where you put it in Diagon Alley, but you can figure it out. But regardless, the point stands. This idea, this event concept has high ceiling potential. But Universal, if they do decide to bring it back, now you got the lead time. You don't have the excuse of, oh, well, we didn't know this was happening or this was sprung on us the last moment. If you do bring this back, you got to go all in. And there is potential to go all in here and really have something special on your hands. And that Harry Potter event you've been thinking about bringing back to the parks for a while now, I'm sure, that you've been looking to find and fill in the gaps since the celebration of Harry Potter ended back in 2018, this could be it, man. This could be it, but you got to put your full heart and soul into it. Anyways, let me guys think in the comments. Do you think that Butterbeer season was good for what it was, even if it kind of came up short of what it could have been? Let me know guys think in the comments. I love to hear what to say, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.